My cousins told how difficult it was to find a job or start their own business without paying bribes. Activists told us about being jailed for experiencing their oppositions to government policies. Even within my own family, Michelle saw how suffocating the demands of family ties and tribal loyalties could be. With distant cousins constantly asking for favors, uncles and aunties showing up unannounced, on the flight back to Chicago, Michelle admitted she was looking forward to getting home. I never realized just how American I was, she said. She hadn't realized just how free she was or how much she cherished that freedom. So now, this was Michelle being excited to go home. And then she realized that, like like everyone just started coming, like, I have this business I want to do, I have this. This is Barack Obama talking about his own experience. So it wasn't the fact that they were wealthy, leaving that country or leaving Africa to be, to make it somewhere else and then having to look after every other person. How exhausting is it? Does anyone have any experience about that?
Yeah, he's the one teaching me how not to give.
Don't put it that way, man. Don't put it that way. I am
in the right way.
Yeah.
In the right way.
When he was reading that, I could see myself in that picture. And the reason I'm not too comfortable to talk about it is because I don't want a lot of people who depend on me to see it and they'll feel like, oh, the guy is complaining. But I know the weight on my shoulder is heavy, man. It's really heavy.
How do you feel? Like, leave the fact that people might think.
No, I'll say something.
Just genuinely say how it makes you feel every time you have that response.
So the thing is, when I left Nigeria to Qatar, right, it got to a point, once I get paid my salary, right, I sort of distribute it. Like, I send it to people. So it got to a point where I struggled to take care of my own personal needs. And that was when I said, no, man. The weight was becoming too much. Yeah. And the funny thing is that some people take an advantage of you trying to help them, sort of scam you. You know what I mean? So they'll be like, oh, I need this. I know if I call him, the guy's gonna do something. And sometimes when you go back home, you see some of these people building houses, even doing better than you. And they still ask you for money. So, but someone told me something sometime. The person said, look, if you are drowning in the ocean and you haven't found your feet, trying to help someone else, the two of you would drown, definitely. So you definitely have to find your feet first. And that was what I told this man. He said, I said he should stop.
See me, I've been this person. Yeah.
So the thing is, I have gotten to that stage where I'd be like, man, I just have to put me first. My 2 kids, my wife, my family, my immediate family first before any other person. And that is where I am right now. Because it got to a point, if I am not able to help, it gives me sleepless nights. So it was that heavy, man.
I mean, okay, so I go to work one day, and this guy I've never worked with, I don't even know him. For some reason, just started ranting. For no reason. African guy, Ghanaian. And then it was like, when I got here, I was just walking. And when I checked my account, there's no money.
That's the truth.
And he said, every time this person saying, oh, my child's school fees, this one has a wedding, that one just gave birth, and he was just sending money back home. And after a couple of years, he decided that, this has to stop. So I think people just realize that, it needs to stop maybe after they've been overwhelmed and then they don't have anything to show for their own success, for their own hard work.
I'll explain my experience quickly.
Yeah.
I came here when I was very young. So a lot of the people I knew back in Africa placed more of those responsibilities on like my elder brothers and my mom, right? So often there'd be times where I would, obviously help to and support and stuff, but the pressure was always on my mom and my brothers. Like my mom would get calls at like 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning about this person in hospital and all these things. Until I went there and, people sort of put my face to my name. Now the responsibility is on me. My Facebook is crazy. Like, constantly. And I remember because I'd never been to Sudan. Last year was my first time because I was born in Kenya and came through that way. So when we were there. I went with my sister. We were there to meet the family and all those things. And I remember before we went, my brother told me, you're gonna see a lot of things, and try as best to keep your heart out of it, because if you do that, you'll get emotionally.
You can't help everyone. It's not possible.
It will exhaust because you feel like you want to help everybody.
True.
So be logical in that sense. Acknowledge what's happening, but then he also said to just know, as bad as it is, these people survive. Right? At the end of the day, they are surviving. Obviously, they can survive a little bit better, but they are surviving. So the onus is not necessarily on you. And then now you take that, like back to your point, you get to a point where it's like, yes, you want to establish yourself to a point where you can help everybody. What was happening was so much, like my mom was like that Ghanaian guy. She's like older woman, man, just working crazy jobs. And all her money was going overseas. And then you're seeing that stress, right? And you're like, that's... But she does because this is people that she knows. They're depending on her. You know, these are my relatives, but I don't have that attachment yet until I went there. And now it's like, this is Christmas period, man. The things that I've done in the past, what day is it? 16th of December, in 16 days.
Do you want me to show you this? So it got to a point. What I did was, when they send messages, I'll be like, man, I haven't even paid my house rent. I don't know how I'm gonna do that. So I had to come up with my own story. Make them feel pity.
The worst thing I was doing, every time I post a story, I didn't know this, it was posting to Facebook.
Oh no, you don't do that. You don't do that. I have to separate
So
the
they
thing.
saw that. I posted a video in my car. The guy was like, you know, it's like for life. They have no shame. If they will ask you for the exact same thing you have. You know?
No way. They're asking for
He
cars.
asked for a car for business. And then another thing was, you invest. Somebody might come with you in the issue, and then you give them a lot of money. And you know, they might say thank you, but that doesn't stop them asking. Now they feel like because you supplied them, you give them 200, 300, they're like, oh, he has money, I'm gonna ask for more things.